Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to another episode of Market Check brought to you by Because Bitcoin. Just a friendly reminder there is no second best daily YouTube show where we come together and we talk markets as a team and as a community. The title of today's show Is Bitcoin going back into the 50s soon? Market Check. It's a very daunting title, I understand. It's probably not ideal for a lot of people, but I think the question is out there and for good reason. Are we going back to the 50Ks? If so, when is it going to happen? How's it going to happen? Who's it going to happen to? Who's going to cause it? And basically, who's going to scoop it up if it does go there? Well, we're going to talk about all that today and more. Obviously, we have the chart up right now. We're looking at Bitcoin. Tucker's lines, they need to go. These lines, they cannot they
Look at it,
cannot
man.
continue to exist, brother. I cannot allow for this type of propaganda and bearish manipulation of the chart. But yeah, look, guys, there is no denying how weak things look right now. But with that said, every swing fail or every breakdown looked terrible until it became I guess, reclaim or a swing fail. I think what's more important right now is to address, yes, things are looking weak. Yes, we are certainly in a corrective phase right now, but we also are less than a week out from a Bitcoin halving, which, if history is any indication, can be a turbulent time in the markets, no doubt. But typically, the months following or preceding a Bitcoin halving are ultimately very prosperous, and holding through some of that volatility and actually using it as a time to accumulate, rather than exit markets has been historically, again, the correct move. So only the charts know, only the charts know what comes next. Nobody can say definitively what happens or I guess doesn't happen. But we certainly are in a corrective phase, and there are some levels above that do need to be not only retested but ultimately reclaimed. So listen, Tucker, I don't know what this is that you're drawing right now, man. I feel personally insulted. I feel aggravated. I feel angered. Um, I feel triggered, man. I feel triggered. I feel like one of those blue-haired women that were screaming when Trump was inaugurated, man, because of this chart that you're showing me. So, would you be so kind to maybe explain what this is? Because I'm getting angry now. I don't know
I'll
what
tell
that
you
red
what,
hammer
Max.
is.
I haven't drawn a hammer on the chart in a long time. I mean, if you guys have been here long enough, you'd remember that we used to have hammers all over the chart, man, and magnets and all those sorts of things. But I mean, I just couldn't help myself when I saw this line I had drawn. Just bonk, just absolute perfect smackdown. Didn't take the short, didn't sell anything. Probably a little unfortunate looking back, but it is what it is. I think we're still in a bull market, even if we are gonna. I was just eyeballing this thing just now, right? And it's like, I could see us pulling one of these. Where was it? Maybe one of these. Something like that. Not the end of the world. I think wouldn't be great for your altcoins. I mean, altcoins are indeed getting slaughtered a little bit here in the short term. We do have FOFAR up 12% on the day, though, not to be ignored.
Lance, hello.
What's up, guys?
We were just talking about how crappy everything looks right now.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, things don't look great. And that's probably going to be the case as long as Bitcoin is just kind of, hovering at range lows. Altcoins hate uncertainty, and this is the single most uncertain thing that you could possibly be providing the market, along with, obviously, threat of geopolitical war. But, yeah, I mean, it really is kind of put up or shut up time for Bitcoin buyers here.
So, listen, do you see the title of today's stream, Tommy? Is Bitcoin going back into the 50s soon? I'm not going to allow you to be a politician and dance around the question, okay? I'm going to ask you point blank. Candidate Snorlax, Is Bitcoin going back into the 50s soon?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay, I was gonna say, don't you dance around that question, Tommy.
No, I do think that it is. I think that if the Monday, and I mean, obviously it's early in the week still, so maybe I'm interpreting yesterday's rejection incorrectly or maybe too quickly, but yesterday felt like the opportunity to really squeeze the war shorters, right? Like we traded into the cluster of orders, both demand
Yeah.
and supply. Um, that really like caused that last thrust down and caused the altcoin capitulation. And we rejected hard off of that, which I do think is a pretty significant level, at least, in the short term, trying to figure out the direction of the trend. It looks to me like that slow bleed, like low volatility pattern that Bitcoin will do right before it maybe leaves a range. The one thing I will say though, is that like, Bitcoin tops and bottoms can last multiple months. So Bitcoin U-turning here, maybe going back to range highs and then back into the 50s, like I wouldn't rule out something like that. But at the same time, I don't really know that I could see that playing out either, because we built up all this short delta above these prices. So I do think if you reclaim 68K, it's not going to be to keep ranging. You're probably going to like rip to mid 80s, new all-time highs, all that good stuff. But I think the bearish scenario in the short term is really like a continued bleed down at this level, or down at these levels, down at these prices, where you don't really see market structure breaks of like 4-hour structure, right? So like we had the high from Monday. There's no reason that high should be broken if you're bearish, in my opinion. If it gets broken, you're probably going to squeeze to infinity. But until that does get broken, until you start to see some strength kind of co-align with that, I think the picture for Bitcoin looks pretty weak. And I mean, it goes without saying what that would do to altcoins. But one thing I've been saying on this stream over the last few shows is that, like, I feel like the over exaggerated downside for these altcoins, for most of them, is probably somewhat behind us. I don't want to say like definitively if Bitcoin breaks down from the range, your altcoins are going to hold up as well as Bitcoin, because that's probably not true either. But we've seen this before, where Bitcoin has had like these forced sells, and eventually like it does lead to negative funding, et cetera, at least since 2023. When that happens, Bitcoin and alts kind of move together. Alts outpace it a little bit, but the relative outperformance that you would expect in altcoins it kind of disappears. It kind of disappears, and you see Bitcoin and ETH lead the final legs of whatever downside we have left. I mean, that's just something that I've kind of grown used to seeing, because eventually, and this weekend's a great example of it. We flushed out so much altcoin open interest that for alts to sell at the same pace that they were last week, we're going to need for selling from spot instead of perps. So it's a little bit harder to just knife through support and resistance the way that we were on Friday and Saturday.
What do you think about this? I think maybe looking, because I was trying to figure out on Sol, right? Like where are we at on Sol? And like, I think looking at the BTC pair is probably more, I don't know. It's probably better in terms of figuring out where we are in terms of altcoin cyclicality than is the USD price. And I think you're somewhere in this, like, just any altcoin, doesn't have to be Sol, right? But like against Bitcoin, this is probably where you're at. You see Bitcoin dominant spike, you just bleed out, like exactly what you said, right? Relative outperformance is gone for like, this was May to July, May to August. Like, I could see it being April to July, right? Something like that, like 2-3 months, altcoins just chop against their Bitcoin pairs. Who knows what Bitcoin does? Doesn't really matter that much. And then you just go. Like that's kind of becoming my base case. I mean, I think we can bounce here, but and the US, and I'm solely talking Bitcoin terms, right? I don't really care that much against USD, because if it is going to hold up at minimum, right, there's a floor here, like if it's going to hold up against Bitcoin, we're probably not going straight down, right? So Yeah, this is somewhat becoming my base case for altcoins actually over the next couple months.
It's funny because I think a great way to pick bottoms after, like, assuming that we're going to keep selling, the best way to pick the bottom is going to be you see alt Bitcoin pairs like mean revert extremely hard on a lower time frame, because you'll have a day where I think about SVB, Bitcoin and ETH were down like, I think 10% on those daily candles at one point, maybe. And you had altcoins that were only down like 5 or 6%. And I remember people were shorting altcoins because they'd been bleeding the previous 2 to 3 weeks profusely. And just for altcoins to, after Bitcoin and ETH put in that leg, I mean, altcoins mean reverted so damn hard. So hard, man. Not just against Bitcoin, but I mean, obviously after SVB, we pumped to like 31K. So altcoins gig a cent after that. But that's something to look for, like the relationship between Bitcoin and alts when alts aren't bleeding as profusely, but Bitcoin and ETH are selling. That's typically what you see at the very end of a sell-off.
Yeah, and we're just not seeing that, turbo mean reversion out of altcoins yet. I mean, there is something to be said cyclically, right, about Bitcoin and ETH, or ETH BTC really is what I'm talking about. But like, you don't see that blow off, not even blow off, but like that wild alt season usually until December, January of the post-halving year, right? Not December of the post-halving year, January of the post-halving year, right? So not that alts won't do well, but like, and it's, if you've been around for a while, right, it sounds brutal to imagine 2024 being another year of like accumulation for altcoins, which sounds just horrendous to me, honestly, even though we've gone up a lot. But like, I'm like, all right, I have accumulated, like, let's go, right? But cyclically, right, like just historically, the post-halving year is that year where they really just melt faces off.
Dude, I'm not so sure. I think that this is just going to be an accumulation year. I actually really am of the belief that we're kind of front running this whole cycle, and I think we could see maybe like a quarter of reaccumulation, and I would argue that we're kind of already in that right now.
Yeah.
But I really don't think we're gonna see like some prolonged, like random mid-cycle, alts just don't do anything and Bitcoin just like sits up here for 6 months. I really don't. My bias does not align with that. Like I view this as a correction that we're in the midst of right now, whether it goes to 56 or it's already bottomed. I don't know for sure. To me, it looks like a lot of altcoins are already bottomed. Like that right there, Tucker, like that looks like your retest. I would say maybe you could sweep that low, that wick low that we just said if you were to zoom in a little bit. But I ultimately think you're about to, wherever this bottoms, it might take another week or two. I do think that probably mid Q2, we start to really aggressively climb back up. Again, whether we go a little bit lower or not, I'm not so sure. I'm really not so sure. But I'm not in the camp that we spend more than a month dinking around down here. I'm really not. I don't think we've had enough upside to even compare it to something that happened in like 2021, when we entered that summer long reaccumulation range, like to the left there, if you see like after the first top. I don't think we could do something like that right now. Like I don't think we haven't earned any type of correction like that. Like I really think that this is just, a normal healthy flush out before ultimately much higher. And maybe it takes another few weeks, but
no, yeah, that's really what I'm saying is like worst case scenario, you accumulate for a little bit longer and alts go sideways against Bitcoin and USD prices probably still go up, right? That's kind of like worst case. Best case, you're like, because look, like this right here is the same as this, right? This was your bull market complacency shoulder before you nuked, right? So we're not even there yet, right? So I mean, if you just look at that, you could argue we're like total 3 is somewhere in here, right? Now, it's a little different just because Bitcoin is so high. Like, if you really want to get into the nitty gritty, right? Like, it's more difficult to push Bitcoin from 70 to 80K than it is, pretty much anywhere else on the chart. And there are a lot more altcoins in the system right now, and they're all launching at wild FTVs. And so, if you just look at like market cap on total 3, like it is comparable to this correction, but I just and then there's the argument for boomers are simply bidding the ETF. They're not going to rotate from ETF to altcoins. I still think that's bullish because first of all, they were never bidding anything beforehand. Okay. Like that's the reality. Second of all, if we as like crypto can use the boomers to simply push Bitcoin, and then I say we as in like CT and like everyone else who's in crypto can simply focus on bidding shit coins, that would be the optimal scenario, right? Because in the past, it's been us, CT, having to push up Bitcoin and then rotate to altcoins. But if we can loft that load over to the boomers to simply prop up Bitcoin and we can just bid shit coins, like that's better, honestly. But I agree that capital that the boomers are bidding Bitcoin with the ETFs is not going to rotate. Like, I don't think it'll rotate, but yeah, that's my take on that.
The spot buyers are not going to rotate, but the CME futures will probably have to, they'll probably have to take a hit if equities keep sliding, which has always been kind of my concern with Bitcoin. But I agree, to a large extent with what you're saying, Tucker. I mean, passing the bid of Bitcoin onto boomers is ultimately going to be probably the way, assuming you don't just have this just massively fat stack of Bitcoin, that allows you to play altcoins, as we love to do. The thing for me right now with Bitcoin is, we have run up so aggressively, and it's kind of, I mean, like we really did kind of just put in almost like 8 straight fairly bullish monthly candles. Maybe that does warrant for some sort of cool off, but I also, I don't know what that looks like either. I feel more comfortable saying that Bitcoin can eat a correction and bounce back more quickly than I think altcoins can. Because if Bitcoin keeps sliding, altcoins are going to bust their structures up a lot more. And then you really do have, I think, an environment where Bitcoin dominance is just going to continue to fly, because, if Bitcoin does correct more, alts probably drop more, and alt structure is probably worse off than Bitcoin. So to be able to rally out of that, Bitcoin would really have to lead in a similar fashion. If you wanted to see like that immediate correction, you would need something like, an SVB type of capitulation that gets bought back up, and within a week it's back above, the highs. I don't know how quickly I think altcoins would recover if Bitcoin were to break down from this range. So I do think like altcoins could be in for a multi-month like cool off period, but I don't think that is necessarily damning for Bitcoin. Definitely not.
Tucker, sorry, you could talk about this first. I was going to say, could we just look at like total 2 and just kind of speculate what that might look like as sort of an index?
For sure. Yeah. I just wanted to touch on this real quick. Like, in this cycle, this was like we printed $3 trillion and we just went vertical, right? We're not in the same, but we're not in the same environment as we were then. But just like candlestick analysis, right? Like, I think this was March, this is April, kind of your first red candle. Like, this doji could have easily been green, right? We're at $1,000, so it's kind of irrelevant. But right at the all-time high, right before rip, right, I guess that was after the halving, but I mean, this thing looks a lot like that, in my opinion. If they can save it a little bit and maybe put in a wick to the downside, then I think we could have a decent May. But Yeah.
Where does that take Bitcoin dominance then? If Bitcoin has
Is it
a,
about to do that?
I mean, I
Yeah.
assume it's not going to 20x from this price, but if it has like some sort of equivalent move based on the momentum, what does that even do for Bitcoin dominance, man?
Yeah, it probably rips. It probably rips. I mean, like what it would do is probably like, Bitcoin dominance would rip into here, and then
Yeah.
you'd get like these sideways, and then it would rip, and then side. I mean, yeah, it probably rips for a while. But your altcoins are still gonna fly, right? Like it's even if dominance goes up, and then like even if dominance does like this, like I think overall it's still gonna make sense to hold altcoins, right? Just solely because of these areas. You know what I mean? Just against USD. But
Select markets will always outperform Bitcoin in that scenario. Always.
yeah. Let's see, total 2. What did I even have drawn on it? I haven't looked at this chart in a minute.
I think the difficult thing for a lot of altcoins right now is that we still don't have that necessary liquidity yet. And for like the quote unquote alt season, everybody
Mhm.
wants the alt season with, I have to say it, with all the the breadth in the market or
Ha
everything.
ha 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 ha. You had to say it. Ha
He
ha.
said it.
You had to say it.
I had to say it, but until we kind of get more liquidity in the market, I'm not just going to point to the overall breadth of the market, but also, kind of the byproduct of that, which is that right now you look at futures rotations, they've largely been hot ball of money chasing the assets or asset class that seems to be pumping the hardest. And that's nice to play for a few days, but these pumps that we're used to seeing where alts just go absolutely parabolic in price discovery and they rip, I mean, multiple X's within a week or 2 weeks, that's going to be more difficult as long as the environment for speculating is kind of that hot ball of money market. Like it's just kind of, in my opinion, indicative that we don't have enough liquidity present still to be able to support market-wide bid on alts, in addition to Bitcoin, right? Not just pulling out of Bitcoin, causing it to go into short-term distribution, and then obviously we see total altcoin death whenever it trades to the range lows. I don't know what that driver is going to be. It might be something like rate cuts later in the year. I'm sure some people would debate about rate cuts and their impact of liquidity within the market. I'm not an expert on that personally, so I won't debate you on it. But maybe something like that, maybe something that makes them turn the printer on, like war, for example. So I don't know. But it is a long cycle. I want to make sure to say that we pumped more quickly than we have within a halving cycle ever, like before than ever before. But that doesn't mean that the ensuing cycle is not going to be long, if that makes sense. Like we could pump early in the cycle and then have a second pump later on in the cycle. I don't know what it looks like. I'm just kind of speculating, talking out loud here. But it is a long cycle. People want a cyclical top right after the halving. I don't really think that cyclical top or really cyclicality is how the way, at least within the context of Bitcoin halvings, is the way that you should be viewing it. It should be more kind of tethered to liquidity cycles and where are we within the broader liquidity cycle. And I think the reality within 2 to 3 years is that liquidity is going to be substantially higher than it is right now, which will be beneficial for altcoins.
Yeah. I mean, just looking at total 2, I think it looks a lot more similar again to the 2017 cycle than it does to this, right? I mean, this correction was only 26%. It's already corrected 30. This was 50, not expecting that at all. That's not what I'm saying, but I would say somewhere between 25 and 50. I mean, we're already down 30. We could go down 35, 40. I mean,
We have had measurably diminished volatility to the downside, and that is a sign of a maturing asset class, right? We've talked about that at length with Bitcoin, where the biggest pullback Bitcoin's had in the past year and a half has been 22%. I am not in the camp that we see a 50% correction on the altcoin index. I think probably 35 is as good as you're going to get, truthfully.
yeah. Yeah, I mean,
unless we see some sort of event, right? That goes
yeah,
without saying.
I think it looks way. I think the structure looks way more similar to this, though, where you like, you know, kind of bear chop for like, I guess that was like a couple months. We're already a month into it, though. I'd say so. Maybe through May, you just kind of like just reaccumulation. That's all it is, right? And then you just, at the end of the day, zoom out. Like, what comes next? Like,
So, Tucker,
yeah.
the one thing you are missing here, though, and I'm very surprised that you didn't bring this up already, is that we should be looking at the soybean chart right now, and we're
Mm,
not doing that.
true.
Um, so, guys, listen, we're gonna go down to the soybean chart. We're gonna go down to probably lean
Mhm.
hog futures today. We're gonna drop it down to the 15-second. We're gonna do some analysis for you guys. Oh, we got the 10-second up, even better.
Mhm.
Um, Yep. So this is your, this is your daily dose of punishment from the BB Market Check crew, guys. We have right now over 300 people watching live on YouTube. We have 82 likes, and guys, I don't know what else to say, right? I don't know what else to say. Here we are looking at Heikinashi candles on the 10-second time frame for lean hog futures, um, and that's all that we can offer with as low as the likes are, guys. We're gonna sit here and just study lean hog futures on the micro time frames, and that's it. That's all that we can do, guys. But for real, if you are appreciating the content, guys, if you're having fun here, guys, all that we request, we're here every single day for free, is that you take one brief moment, hit that thumbs up button, and if you're on Twitter, hit that like button and also hit that retweet button, guys. It does wonders for the channel. It does wonders for our growth. And we're growing so quickly because of your guys' consistent support of what we are building here. And you guys show up every single day and you hit the like button. Guys, we have, again, on YouTube, 300 and some people watching. We need at least half of you to like it. We need 150 likes. That means right now that there's 200 plus of you that are sitting there with your arms crossed going, nah, I'm not going to like it. Nah, I'm not going to like it. Someone else will like it. No one else is going to like it. You have to like it. You have to take this into your own hands. You need to navigate your thumb, your pointer finger over to either your mouse or your phone screen, and you need to hit that thumbs up button, because if you don't do it, nobody's going to. It takes you to show your support. All that we request, again, is that you help support us, help us grow by taking one moment and hitting that thumbs up button, guys. But this is a nice setup here on the lean hog chart. Tucker, would you be so kind to walk us through this until we get to 150 likes? I'd love to know. It looks like you're prospecting a long setup here on the 10-second time frame for lean hog futures.
Oh yeah, it's gonna come right down into my level. It's gonna deviate down here.
Yep.
You might even get that. Boom.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's a nice setup there. So lean hog futures coming into that 95 level, retesting a trend line, value area low, a lot of confluence there. Are you
Mhm.
concerned about the amount of Heikinashi red candles we've had in a row with this lean hog setup, or no?
Yeah, I might even throw the oh no, never mind. We're not gonna do that. I was gonna put the old volume candles on. We should it is negligent of me to not throw a fib on here though.
It
So
is. Yeah, it is. I'm
oh,
happy you said
we
something.
are at the golden pocket right now. We might miss our long. We'll see.
Guys, we do need 5 more likes. Otherwise, we're going to keep looking at the lean hog futures on the 10-second time frame, guys. We just need 5 more people. That gives us not even half of you guys liking it, guys. That's a really fair deal. Now we just need 3 more. We got over 300 people watching on YouTube. We just need 3 more likes, and that would be half of you guys liking it. Look at that great comment. Look at this comment, man. Hidden biggish divergence. Who could have
Oh,
foreseen?
man.
Who could have foreseen? Yeah, guys, if you're watching, oh, there we go. We ran the likes up. All right, thank you guys
All
so
right,
much.
all
Back
right.
to the charts, guys. I'm sorry we have to do that, but we do.
We do
Painful.
indeed.
We don't like doing it, but we do need likes to grow. It's unfortunate, but we have to do it. Do you like these volume candles here, Tucker?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, this one was juicy, and we did come back into it and bounce out. This one was juicy. We rejected it. The big juicy ones are usually decent decent SR I've found. So yeah, it's kind of nice. It makes the chart look a little funny, but you know, you can tell where a ton of volume was transacted.
I like this one.
Yeah. Boorish divergence. Maybe there's a nice line.
You guys are funny.
Let's deviate and hold that line. That'd be nice. No more sweeps. We already swept this one. Like this was a perfect. Put the old sweep on
Tommy,
there.
how does the derivatives side of things look? I mean, I know we talked yesterday. A lot of OI got taken out. Funding actually went negative just for a second. We saw 9 figures in liquidations. What are you seeing right now, man? I know the chart looks bad, but what are you seeing behind the curtain?
I mean, we can pull up Coinalyze. I think it's probably a better illustration of where we're at right now.
Do it. Let's do it, man. Let's geek out. I want to see it all.
Let's do it.
No, Tucker, delete that. Tucker. Easy.
The McDonald's M.
Gosh, you are wiling out today with the bearish propaganda, man. You need to take it easy.
I know.
He's living up to his panda's reputation, man.
Yeah. The bear panda.
Just picturing him doing this, you know.
I'd like to see this. Like, my funding is getting reset to this.
Can you go to 1 year, Tommy, up top? Can you just? I want to just see what the APY is. So we're actually like negative funding on a lot of things right now.
That's good.
It'd be better if we. Yeah, I wish Bybit were lower than Binance. That's always a good signal for me that the market's more short than long. BNB funding, of course, still egregiously negative. I wonder why Bitcoin Cash is so negative. That's funny. Wow. Dot. Okay, wait, never mind. Maybe not that negative. ENA, negative funding. That makes sense. I bet a lot of people are probably shorting ENA. Jesus. Yeah, so Bybit's very short on ENA because if ETH does have any sort of event, then obviously ENA will be the driver of it. Let's see what Curve is doing. Ooh, Binance trying to support Curve, it looks like.
Is Curve at 0 yet, Tommy?
It might beeline the 0 if Bitcoin breaks down, man. This is a big level, not just because of positioning. I mean, it goes without saying we're at range lows, but Curve is literally trading at the levels that it was trading at when we were at 25 to 30K. That to me is either a signal that it makes sense for altcoins as an entire market to be bottomed here, or something like Curve is probably about to go to 0 if Bitcoin breaks down from the range.
So when I look at this, Tommy, and you trade this stuff a lot better than me. I look at that wipeout that we had over the weekend, and I would be afraid to short right here personally. But I don't know if you're seeing something different.
So the thing about it is, like, you're right. We did wipe out almost 3 billion in Bitcoin open interest here. But I'm going to zoom out. We've got a lot of open interest up here. Realistically, I could see us coming down into like this level on OI, which is another 3 or 4 billion. That would take us to about the low 50Ks if we were to get there. And the other thing about it too is, funding is reset, but I think that's more from the forced puking of longs than it is shorts coming in, because we can see here there really hasn't been that much open interest that's come on. We can look at the predicted funding of it, of course, but we look at the lower time frames here. It's like, yes, there are shorts coming in, but it's not really moving open interest. We probably have like a few 100 million in shorts that you can squeeze if you reclaim something like that. These gaps on open interest, I always talk about them. They serve as really nice like pivot points. I didn't see this one yesterday morning, but clearly I should have been paying attention to it because we filled it. The inefficiencies usually get filled on open interest. Or yeah, at least on price they do, because we're rebalancing the open interest that entered on the gap down. But yeah, I mean, the line in the sand is very simple for me. You really need to flip this level that we had the gap down from. A ton of short OI, I bet, came in right here. And really, like, I guess, up here in general. So yeah, this is a big pivot for the market. Bottom shorters are supply right now.
So if we get back above 65K and you see OI fill in that gap between 17 and 18 billion, you think we run this thing back. But that's the level. That's the line.
Yeah, if we do something like this and then reclaim that, I'm punting this long probably towards like up here, like 85. Yeah. But if we don't sweep the low and we just kind of drift back up, that would feel a little more bearish to me. Like maybe that would look like this. You know, we just do that, pop up, drift back up, bearish retest, and then roll over for real. But yeah, I mean, I think you'll kind of get a good gauge on whether or not we sweep this low. I would say my current expectation is maybe something like this and then drop, like maybe one more small squeeze to shake out bottom shorts. But we'll see. I mean, these are all hypotheticals. I think as a whole, you really need spot bidders to step in because, you know, you have wiped out plenty of long delta. You've reset the funding. You have plenty of shorts within this cluster that if you flip the level, you can put a squeeze on. But right now, we really need buyers to step up because they really haven't. They really haven't at the moment. And this looks a little precarious to me on a high time frame.
How's the ETH OI and funding look? Anything different?
I'll pull that up in just a second. I just wanted to point out, this is something I was noticing the other day. When we break down from this level on OI, it's usually like a quick candle. So I'm just paying attention to that. Oh, I guess it just went back on me. But either way, we can talk about ETH. Let's look at ETH. These darn ads.
We need BB terminal, then there's no ads.
We do.
That's real.
Soon.
I don't really know what to make of this chart. I just don't know that I necessarily think it looks good. Spot buying. No.
He said no.
Spot is not buying. They do not want your Ethereum coins right now. That is just kind of the reality. Wow. So I guess we like swept the all-time high of open interest and then immediately started selling off.
Don't FUD it, Tommy. Easy.
Oh. I'm not FUDing anything. I'm not FUDing anything, but that doesn't paint the best picture.
I feel your brain stewing with ETH FUD right now. You know that picture of the kid who's like his like neck veins are popping out. He's like sitting in a classroom. It's like when you've gone an hour without FUDing ETH. That's you.
That is sadly that is me. I do like to FUD ETH just for various reasons that I've accumulated in my years in crypto. But I remember we used to joke about it, Max. Like you either trade long enough or what is it? Like you either die or trade long enough to eventually have a really painful perps trade on ETH. And I feel like all perps traders can kind of relate to that. And that's why I particularly hate ETH.
We've all been stopped out on a 5-minute 100-point ETH bullshit candle. Everybody. You're lying if you haven't. We've all been taken out.
Ooh. Somebody been exiting some longs, it looks like. Damn.
Is that willingly exiting or is that they're getting
I'm
licked?
sure the first part was willingly exiting and then the second part was not. Not so willing.
Many such cases.
The forced exit.
I don't think this would come back down to here, but like maybe.
When I look at just the top right there, Tommy, like the USD chart, that little consolidation at 114 you have your mouse over, I really feel like that base is not optional. We need to hold from a structure perspective. We need to hold.
It would be
that range.
over. It would be over.
Like that level is non-negotiable. I don't care what anybody says. You hold that 110 level or you're donezo.
Basically like that.
There's probably
Otherwise-
a big point of control right in the middle of that too. I don't know where it is, but I bet there's a huge point of control. No, that's too low. That's too low. I can't accept
I
that.
think like worst case, you'd see something like that. Worst case, like a high time frame V recover out of it.
That would be so scary, bro. If we went down that
It
low,
would be.
that would be unforgivable if we went that low, brother. That would be.
They would card out all the manlets and the meme coins and then run it back turbo.
Dude, you don't even want to know what Dex screener on the Sol for Sol would look like, man. It would literally be everything going to zero on Sol. All the shit
literal wasteland.
Which we know they're going, like those Sol shitters that just people pop up randomly, they're all going to zero anyways, but I figured they'd last longer than, like just this short while, Nothing goes to zero quicker than a Sol shitter that gets thrown on Dex screener with a funny name, man. Those charts just get cooked, just cooked.
That's real. Nothing goes to zero faster than a Sol shitter in almost any context.
Nothing goes.
Tommy, if you can get OI down to that blue line without price getting there, you're good.
Yeah, that would look good. Doge, it actually is one of the least fugly charts that I can find.
Yeah.
And it still looks like, I wouldn't be longing this on perps. That looks like maybe an M forming.
If you can hold that first low, you could be all right. Yeah.
Let's take a look at ENA and look at some other memes after this. I'm just curious what this derivative structure looks like. This looks like TIA on speed run.
Not a meme. This is not a meme, Tommy.
This is TIA on speed run, brother.
Yeah, the Christmas tree pattern. Yeah.
Is modularity dead?
Yeah.
That should have been the title of the show today, man.
The narrative is for sure for now.
Yeah.
At least gonna take this low, I think.
What is that?
71.
That's fine.
At least if you fill this gap.
Literally my entry. Wonderful. The round.
It actually has one of the better looking derivatives structures. Like if you're confident a bottom, you punt this, because if this doesn't hold,
yeah.
I more need to draw a box than a horizontal, because that's we are in demand right now on whiff.
I mean, what you're trading, you're just trading leverage Sol. So it's like if Sol does that terrible fractal or that terrible squiggly line that you had drawn, like
just here.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not a death sentence, right? You're trading 5 times leverage Solana. So it's like,
well, here's the thing about it too, is like everybody wants to hold altcoins, but they underestimate the beta on them, because look at all of your favorite shit coins in 2020 to 2021. Like Sol had at least 80 to 90% drawdowns before it went to $240. And that's true of a lot of these trending altcoins. They have a lot of volatility baked in to their market cycles. That's a feature, not a bug. It's just you have to time it. Otherwise, you have to hold through a lot of pain. Wow. Holy, people got carded out on this one.
That's what I'm saying, Tommy. That's what I'm saying.
And that's why I can't get bearish here after people get this carded out.
I can't. After that wick, it
took everybody who had a even small amount of leverage on the board out, bro. Like everybody.
Why is this making me auto adjust the spot CVD? It's probably gonna be super negative, like every coin.
Just double click it.
Wow, I guess it doesn't want to load, but it might be the other Pepe contract. I guess this could come down a little bit more, but the perps driven selling on Pepe is effectively over, which is, it's a good illustration for kind of what I was saying, as far as like further selling on alts needs to be spot driven. Let's take a look at the spot bid right now. Just scrolling through derivatives charts gives me life.
Yeah, bottoming, baby. Look at that. Look at no. Zoom back in,
I'm
Tommy.
not going to.
Oh God, it looked better and zoomed in.
Maybe just a smidge lower, backfill that low,
Just
but
a smidge.
I don't think this is going to drop that much lower.
Oh no.
I could see this doing maybe something like bleed into the low, retest it again, and then go.
We have a guest on
Do we have a
stream.
guess? Oh God. Not sure if it's Doctor or Wabi.
No, there's no way it's Wabi.
What are you guys talking about, man? I just took my my injection this morning.
Oh my God.
We're talking about derivatives. Will, your favorite?
Oh man, how many dumpster fires have we found so far?
Oh, there's more dumpster fires than things that are not on fire currently.
Good. I'm sure the audience missed me.
Yes.
So,
Always. I always.
I'm here.
Why is funding so negative on this? Nobody's really shorting it. I have no idea what the hell this chart is.
What is that? BCH?
Yeah. Oh my God. What?
The spot bid is strong, brother.
This is actually one of the stronger coins in the market, ironically.
They want to bid the forks.
They want to bid the coins that are getting. This is actually kind of a good little bit of alpha because they're bidding the coins that are about to get these futures ETFs like Doge, Bitcoin Cash. I'm sure I bet Filecoin's chart looks foobar. Actually, I don't really want to look at it. Litecoin. It actually doesn't look.
Nobody is bidding Litecoin. Absolutely no one.
Let's see. Yeah, we can see.
They're bidding. No, they are not bidding Litecoin.
Nobody is bidding that.
It's bidding Litecoin, man.
Oh my God! Look at spot. It's over.
Yeah, it's over for Litecoin, man.
Oh, you gonna pull up Matic?
For posterity's sake.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be the Sandeep bullier if I didn't look at this chart. Dear God. Matic got back to all-time high open interest? You're joking. No way.
Wow.
I'm actually shocked to see that.
And they cleaned them out.
They did. This must have been like pure distribution then. Sandeep, dog.
You dog.
You dog.
Oh, the spot bid is strong.
They've just been dumping since the top, it looks like.
The only person I can see bidding Litecoin is maybe Kappa.
Dear Lord.
Just because he does the opposite of whatever the market does.
I'm laughing. I did not realize that Matic got that high on open interest again. I'll look at one more. Let's look at Celestia.
Are people max bidding Doge?
I think so. I didn't check the spot CVD, but it looks better than most charts.
I think you need to pull up the Doge Litecoin chart. Take a look at that.
Wait, this comes back down here. No chance. Surely not. Surely that doesn't.
And
You see it, Tucker?
Exo just dropped some gnarly Matic FUD, man.
What'd he say?
He said alt season won't start till Matic trades 30 cents.
Bro, Matic has been getting annihilated. I'm not gonna lie.
Matic is so
my God.
Look at
one more.
You
want to look at the Doge spot?
Doge Litecoin when you get done with Doge spot.
Dude, nobody FUDs Matic harder than the Europeans, man. They hate Matic.
Maybe we could use a little bit more spot bid, but
what is that, Doge?
Yeah. I guess we'll see. I still think you see something like, if we dump further, it'd be like this.
61.8.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, you're talking about Bitcoin, but
Bitcoin's at 61.8.
I'm gonna throw your chart back on the screen, Tucker.
Hey man, you know what? FOFAR quietly up 30% today, or 18% today. No one's talking about it.
No, look. What you need to do is pull up the Doge Litecoin chart.
All right, I will, but look at this first. Our RSI is tracking so much more closely to this cycle, 2016.
Oh,
than
so
it
we're
is-
only on the first hump?
I mean, look, you're either okay.
We're there. There you go. We go with that.
Respective of the halving, right, which was like right here, and it's obviously like right here. I mean, this got a little higher, right? This got into the quote unquote overbought above 70.
Just means we're gonna go higher. That's
I
all.
mean, either way, you're here, right? You're here. So, like, that's kind of the zoomed out, like, why is everyone panicking? Like, take, right? You're either right there, or you're right there, and you still have this. So, I mean, we want to just do one of these. It's like you're either there, you're either right there, or you're here.
Zed says we're on July 1st, 2019. What is show me July 1st, 2019 real quick. I want to see if this person's been smoking meth.
Those are both way too high. July 1, 2019.
Yeah.
Oh no.
My guy, look, you need to stop drug use, okay? You need to stop using drugs. I'll tell you that. Like, it makes zero sense at all.
I think, yeah, there's a much stronger case to be made that you're somewhere in the 2016 cycle, even relative to the halving, right, than you are here, right? This was a pre-halving year, okay? This was not the current year. So time-wise, it doesn't necessarily make sense. All-time high-wise, it doesn't. Keeps me going. Fed rates. Oh, no. Not Fed rates, man.
No, 2020 we were cutting and still pumping. We were fine.
Yeah, so I'm a believer in you're in this range where you're gonna do that.
Yeah, that's my thoughts too. We're close to a top, like, but I don't mean like top is in here, but like top of the market. But we have a ways to go still, dollar amount wise.
Easy.
What if you remove the top of the wick from 2017? How does that change your perspective on this structure relative to maybe 2019?
If you remove it from the body,
say the wick didn't exist in 2017.
So like that?
Yeah.
Let me get rid of all this garbage.
Yeah, I think we just chop sideways, man, for like multiple months here. This thing cools down.
I am getting into that camp as well, Will, especially with altcoins completely busting up their high time frame structures over the last week or so.
Okay.
At least
so
most, not all.
Wait, Tommy, wait a second. Are you saying this?
I'm just thinking out loud. I hadn't viewed the chart in this manner before, but you know, I mean, like we had the blow off wick in 2017 that gives us like the higher all-time high, I think, relatively speaking. 2021 didn't have obviously the same wick, but if you remove the wick in 2017, contextually, I can see some similarities to this run being like 2019. Not that I think it is. I think I've been saying I think the cycle is more likely to look like you know, the 2017 2018 cycle, but I'm just putting out some food for thought.
Yeah, but if we were tracking 2019, then you would be moving that top line down to the body and not to the wick, and in that case, we're actually sitting on support, right?
Oh, you're saying this?
Yes.
That's also true. If we are going to do bodies, which we can, right? If we want to do bodies across the board, right? That would be that would be us doing the body candles.
Which means we're actually not doing a 2019. We're actually doing the opposite. We're setting above
I
support.
mean, technically, you're bouncing off the highest monthly close. I mean, maybe not bouncing might be a strong word, but
you're holding. You're supporting.
Sitting on top of the highest monthly close.
Yep. Yeah. And that's been my thesis the whole time. Until you violate that highest monthly close, it really doesn't mean much, right? And then if you start violating that highest monthly close, now you can start entertaining lower prices.
Which
right?
again makes me think that this is the candle we're doing right now. Again, more confluence for this candle, right? You got above, you closed the monthly above, you had a red, probably terrible volatility.
That's my thoughts too.
Terrible for altcoins.
Yep.
And then you're literally just going to do that. Like, because 2019, you bounced off it. You didn't even close above. You didn't even get close. And you just nuked, right? Like, this is different than that. So,
did it nuke though?
Well,
like in 2019, I don't know that it necessarily just nuked in 2019. It took a long period of consolidation.
Bro, that's a nuke.
Like, well, yeah, COVID's a nuke. The COVID part's a nuke, but
I'm talking about here, that was 53% without COVID.
Yeah, in 6 months you track downside of 50% losses, and that means alts were probably obliterated. But
where would you say that altcoins are relatively speaking in their cycle? And I think that's the golden question that's going to tell us where Bitcoin is. And before you got on, Will, we were talking about how the alt Bitcoin pairs kind of look a bit more similar to 2017 than they do necessarily 2019. So, I mean, I agree with you guys. I don't really think that it's comparable necessarily to 2019. I was just observing in real time and putting out my thoughts on that.
No, that's fine. I think I get that. I'm just kind of contexting back to what you're saying, and I think that, like, looking at this and saying that, I think, like, if we're gonna entertain a 50% drop, for say, let's discuss entertaining it. I think you need to break this high first, right? And then once you break this high or this support that we spoke about on the body candle, then at that point you can start entertaining the potential of a bleed down, multi-month bleed down. I think for now people should just entertain, at least from where we are now, from a support standpoint, sideways or up. And then if the support is broken, then entertain down or sideways, right? Sideways down. You need to break that support though.
If we're going to do a 2019 or 2020 cycle comparison on total 3, again, I think this makes the most sense relative to the halving, relative to the bear market shoulder. This candle probably is what you're going to get. Right?
What's funny, Tucker? ETH looks the same way. Like, pull up ETH beside that. ETH looks exactly like total 3 right now. Now pull that line down to that failed shoulder, the failed swing, the top one, very top. Yeah, pull it down. It's literally tit for tat.
That's ugly, bro. That's nasty.
Oh, but it's the same move. But now pull the support from that same failed shoulder.
What, like that?
Yep. Now bring it up to the bodies. That's kind of the lowest I think this can go if it's going to drop at all. Mm-hmm. Right? That's your lowest support range, and that's your 50% fill if Ethereum's going to drop more.
Yeah.
And if that happens, altcoins are getting obliterated, like obliterated, not like a little bit.
Yeah.
Where's there's your FVG fill. We already filled half. We already filled the 50.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
The full fill would be 2720.
And that would fill half the body candle of the rip up.
Yeah, and that would fully fill the FVG, and it would still be above the body candle support from back here. I could see that, but I would say you probably just bottom like somewhere in here, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. If you were going to go lower, and that would be a round bottom, right? You'd round out and then you'd rip off.
Yeah.
That's my bear case. I'll throw it out there. I'll be fair to bears, right? That's my bear case.
Yeah.
So it'll be painful. What's the floor price on that roughly?
2,700 basically.
Okay, so that's the most bearish I can really get. I can't get more bearish than that.
Yeah. You literally have to flip and say it's completely over. If you lost that, then it's over. Like then you can get really bearish, but until then, I think you gotta buy dips until you lose this box.
Yeah.
Like
Now,
if you lose 2,700, it's over. It's over.
The point being here is that it's not to like fear monger or get people to be scared or think that they could sell to buy lower. It's to have people ready to expect the unexpected if it were to happen. Right. I think that's always the importance of the conversation here. That's why that's the only reason I'm even entertaining the conversation, is because like if it happens, people can't be like, oh well, you guys said it was gonna pump from here. It's like, yeah, I mean, it could pump from here. It does have support here. It makes sense. And if you were to draw fib from high to low there between those two ranges
On
on an ETH, and I can almost guarantee you're sitting right on your 50.
from here to here.
No, from within those two ranges that you just made, the two white lines, top white line and bottom white line.
Let's get the 50.
No, just keep it in the white lines.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So if you can get
below, let's see.
Yeah, if you can get back above that,
Mm-hmm.
I think at that point you're safe, right? But if you stay below it and use it as resistance, you could theoretically trail right down to the low there.
Mm-hmm.
Slowly, but it'll happen.
Yeah.
So you need to recapture that 50 range to flip this back up, in my perspective.
Yeah, you had a nice little daily order block you bounced out of here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like Bitcoin. Bitcoin right now is doing exactly what I'm talking about with ETH right now. Bitcoin's bleeding back down into the wick. No, I'm not selling any of my portfolio, JB. Not selling nothing. I'll buy more if I need to buy more. How will I do that? We'll figure that out when it happens.
We'll figure that out.
Might have to work at a strip club. We'll see.
Will's gonna OTC his kidney over to me for a discount.
Yeah.
For
Just
quick
keep it on
cash.
ice.
Man, that looks bad.
Just think about volatility, right? Like this is vol. This is vol at its finest.
I will say, like, I could see a scenario where within the next, like, I mean, it would have to be within the next 24 hours, though, of this bleed that we see some sort of big engulfing squeeze candle that takes us back to the range highs. I could see that.
JB, you saying that? Oh, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Tom.
I would say that I'm more inclined to chop and further bleed at best, though. I'm still expecting more downside at this point, even if like it doesn't happen within the next like 2 days, quote unquote. I could see us range and then break down, but I do think like just in general, at least until the liquidity picture and equities curls up and you see these mega cap tech stocks that we've been talking about for weeks and months, they also start to curl up. That would paint a very positive picture for Bitcoin for me on a multi-month time horizon, but we are sitting at range lows. And I do not like the look of altcoin charts, even if they can give a bounce, man. I feel like they're probably at best just going to keep ranging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the point being is like JB says, oh, it doesn't sound like selling part of my portfolio a week ago was such a bad idea. Now does it? And I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean, you can go to a crack house and ask for some free crack, and they might give you some if you've never smoked crack because they want you to get addicted. But after that, you're going to have to pay for your crack, which means that in that scenario, you can guess that price is going to drop, and you can guess where lower is. But in reality, if you don't have a strategy and you say sell here to buy lower, what the hell does that even mean? What does that even mean? No price targets, no ideas of time frames. Sell here to buy lower. Like you got to come at it with a strategy. No, I've seen a lot of drug addicts, and a lot of them exist in crypto. You can tell they have the same actions.
Will, I couldn't find ticker crack on Solana.
There is a 420 coin decision.
Oh, I believe it, man.
Isn't the halving on 420?
Say that again.
Isn't the halving on 420?
Yes.
I literally just said, JB. All right, I literally just told you. What does sell to buy lower mean? Are you saying I'm going to sell at 68K to buy at 58K? I'm going to sell at 65K to buy at 62K? My strategy is to wait until the RSI reaches a certain point. My strategy is to wait till, sell in May, go away, and come back another day. Like what does sell here to buy lower mean? It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. A strategy requires strategy, which means that you got to have numbers, you have to have levels, you have to have everything drawn out on what you were talking about. You can't just say sell here to buy lower.
Hang on.
Oh my God. I'm not entertaining the conversation anymore. I just explained it.
Crack is on base.
They have crack on base. Oh man.
I don't know. Look at it.
I changed the banner at the bottom.
Well, I apologize, JB. I didn't mean to feel. Look, I'm trying to represent my ways. I didn't mean to make you think I was screaming at you. That wasn't my purpose. I'm just trying to explain to you what I mean by strategy. My apologies on screaming. That is my intention is to teach. It's not to. Okay, sometimes it's to reprimand, but it's normally to teach. All right, it's normally to teach.
Reprimand. Oh man, you guys like this little TKO?
I do like those, but
Yeah, all right.
I'd just rather go with the traditional POCs.
I know where. There we go. That's better. Yeah, you're probably going to need some more climactic selling to get a low.
What does the HTF POC look like on, say, on Bitcoin, like weekly? What does that look like, or Ethereum?
Soy is the perfect defense.
From where?
I don't know.
I hate that one, man. Just use the rate. The one that's like an indicator. It's already preset. Because it's like you're picking your POC almost.
Well, yeah, you got to figure out where you want to take it from.
All right, take it from previous low to current high. Not current high, sorry, previous high.
From here?
Let's do body.
I mean, you're not going to like that.
No, I mean like 2021's high.
Yeah, you're still not going to like it.
It's saying it's all the way down there.
Yeah.
Well, that's not going to happen. What time frame is this? Weekly?
Well, obviously, we're not going to rotate all the way back down there. If we did, then like
it's over.
Then you can pack it up.
Yeah, pack it up.
Just look, go from where we bounced and ran straight up. So our current high to the right. Yep, beautiful. And then up to like is that the 40K zone? Yeah, take the 40K zone as your low. 40K.
Do you not want it all the way to current price?
No, the 40K. Yeah. What does that take us to?
51.
All right, that's worst case scenario. I'll give Bears that. That's worst case scenario. You cut any lower than that though, you're done. The entire move, the entire structure here is fucked at that point. It's going to zero.
I think if you were to have some sort of thing where like you actually were to rotate to the bottom of the value area low, you would overshoot it on a wick, and then that would be like that's your COVID of the cycle, structurally equivalent of that, in my opinion. But
what if you did this?
I'm not saying that you would. I'm just saying
terrible.
It's over if it goes there.
If you did, I would expect Bitcoin to be back at the same prices or higher within like 4 or 5 months.
Months?
Yes. I think if you had something like that, I don't think you would just go sideways. I think Bitcoin probably grinds back up in the way that it did after COVID.
You mean you'd like...
I'm not saying that we're doing a COVID. I'm saying if structure did something where we wicked really deep, I think we would recover out of it on a higher time frame.
I look, at the end of the day, I think structure has already moved in such a way to where if you get a big sideways or weird price action, it's kind of over.
There you go.
But
there's the path.
let me give you a better entertaining scenario here, Tucker. Can we remove all that and go on the monthly real quick? Now let's highlight the 25 to 30K zone. Just a support and a resistance.
No,
yeah, there you go. That works. That's fine. Now let's highlight. Let's go ahead and copy that and just place it up to where our current zone is. Now let's drag it down a little bit and then bring it all the way to the left to the top of the previous market highs. We could theoretically hold that. Do you see those two zones and what they represent? The 25 to 30K represents the support, and the current 60K to 75K represents the breakout above and holding the current or the old resistance as support. And I don't think many people entertain that, right?
Kind of like this too, low key.
Will, do you see this comment?
What's up? I'm okay with it, man. Like, send all the BTC back to $1. I will buy it. All of it. Send it all back to $1.
Will buy all of it, yeah.
Look, I am the biggest risk to reward person. Like, you will never meet a more risk to reward. Like, I am all about risk. All about it. Full on growth portfolio. Like, I don't even have like real hedges, right? My hedge is Bitcoin. That's it. My 401k, like, and somebody be like, oh, you got 401k? Yeah, I mean, I get company match. Of course I got 401k. That right there is all 100% growth. Like, the portfolio manager on the 401k is like, don't you want to hedge? No. I want full gas, no brakes. Everything's risk. Full risk on 401k. It's hero or zero, right? I'm going to either be sleeping under a bridge when I'm 60 or in a mansion. One of the two.
There is no in between.
There is no in between. I mean, I like it to a degree, but again, I think like if we look at the 25 to 30K zone, that support range, I think like realistically you might be able to pull off the January 20, sorry, not January, was that March high body. So bring it back up to where we were, Tucker.
Look at this though, this gap, right? Like these bodies to this body, and then like full candle through, full candle through, full candle through. Like this is like, I think this is kind of a juicy area. Now this would be the middle of this FVG. I think that's really your downside cap is like 54K. Now I know there's like where's the EMAs and shit. Let's find a good time frame. Yeah, I mean you could catch on the 1221. Damn, these are so low. Jesus Christ. The 100 also makes sense. Obviously, that pi cycle thing could make sense if we lose the range, right? If we lose the range, I
You
think
got to lose that range before you can even entertain any of it. Then after you lose the range, then you start dialing in and be like, all right, where the hell is this thing going from there? At that point, it's kind of like, okay, I need to really pay attention because there's a spot in the chart.
Check this out. Only MAs, no price.
Yeah, Alpha. But draw your cap on your previous cycle again. Yeah. Now let's say it retests that worst price.
54K. I mean, like, where do you want to draw this?
I don't think it has to go that deep, man. I don't think it has to go that deep to draw that MA down.
I mean, this was like 60. If you want to take it to like here.
That's what I was saying. Nope, where you had it, the 60.
60.
That's realistically like, and if you were to turn candles back on, that body high is where I'm looking. I'm looking at that 2021 high possible, which does lead into what some of the people in the comments have been saying, which is 59.58. And I told you guys like a week ago, it's a possibility. I really think that they're going to hold it above 60, just to try and really screw with people, because people are expecting the 59.58. They're expecting the 55.50. And I remember this same scenario playing out between 25 and 30K. Think about it, Tommy. How many people were thinking 22 to 19 at 25? Almost everybody, man. I mean, everybody was looking at those areas, and they did not let it happen. And I almost feel like they're going to do the same thing here. They're getting everybody super bared up here. They're holding price, suppressing it, but they're also buying the bottom end of the range. How do we know they're buying the bottom end of the range? Because it's a literal double bottom. So it's straight price manipulation here.
For me, the thing that I think is the most encouraging for like painting a high time frame bottom is that you have altcoins that literally like completely reset the last 8 or 9 months of price action in the span of a week. For them to go lower, it literally send some of them to probably basically zero. I don't really know what ETH DeFi looks like if Bitcoin breaks down from this range, because like all of those DeFi USD charts look terrible, man. They all look terrible.
If Bitcoin breaks down more, ETH's going to be looking at like 2,600, 2,700. It's going to be nasty.
I really don't even think that ETH has puked yet. I really don't.
I don't know, bro. 3,700 back to below 3K.
Is that really a pretty? Though?
Bro, that's like 1/3 of its price. What do you mean?
I mean, 3,600 to 3,000 though. You're not getting liquidated unless you're,
no, it hit below
leverage. Everybody with passive leverage is still sitting in those positions. And we just saw altcoins that were sitting in 2 to 3x passive leverage just get carted out. It makes me wonder if Bitcoin and ETH are maybe lagging a little bit. That's, I think, my main like hesitation with the current market is, maybe it's a sign of, market getting healthier, market resetting, funding resetting, right? Altcoin open interest carted out, but Bitcoin pulling back only 10 to 20%, that's fine. ETH bottoming after, a 20% local pullback. I don't know if I think that's like, I'm not really that convinced by that, but I'm also not really trading ETH right now. So, take that for what it's worth as well.
So when I say they, Tyree, what I'm speaking on specifically is the market maker, right? The person who's making, because the market maker at times will make both sides of the market, which means they're making the sell-off position to create sellers, and they're making the buy position to be able to accumulate whatever they're trying to accumulate, whether it be stock or whether it be crypto or whatever. And this is why ranges get formed, because the market maker has to remain balanced on both sides to be able to market make. What does that mean? That means they can't ever have too much fiat and they can't ever have too many coins. So when they reach one of those scenarios, they stop the market. They control the price within the range until they can either accumulate to go higher, which means they're consistently selling down the top of the range and forcing people to capitulate, and then buying up the bottom of the range and creating the floor. And then once they accrue enough tokens, this is why consolidations happen. Then at that point, they leg up to the next range if they think there is a buyer available to buy up there. Now, if they don't think there's buyers, that's how bear markets happen, in which case they continue to sell into the capitulation and then sell into the capitulation and sell in. Well, they don't sell; they're actually buying. They're taking your bids, but the rebalance is always the bounce back. It's the market come back up. So they'll a market maker can theoretically, when it first comes in, sit underwater for a period of time, but once that market maker has made a cycle or a couple of cycles, there's no more underwater through bear or bull. They're making moves based off of demand. So if demand is high, they continue to leg up and then create consolidation ranges into demand. And if demand is low, then they continue to leg down and allow the market to go into a bear market until demand comes back.
Well, I'm encouraged by the fact that we don't have, at least to my understanding, it doesn't seem like we have been at the part of the cycle where you have funds and like I don't even want to call them demagogues, right? Because they're not really even that yet. In the way that we had, things like SBF, 3AC, therefore selling obviously exacerbated the bear market much, much worse than it should have been. Or I mean, should have, would have, could have, right? That it's part of the market cycle at the end of the day. But from a leverage standpoint, like altcoins, a lot of their leverage, their passive open interest, I talked about that was flushed out. And you're right, Will, like the question to me, because a lot of these market makers with altcoins, after the leverage is flushed out, they really don't have to sell spot alts unless something happens with Bitcoin and ETH. So my question is, what does the leverage look like on Bitcoin and ETH at this part of the cycle? And that's a question I have absolutely no answer to be totally honest. I have absolutely zero answer to it at all. You would like to assume that they're not super levered up. I don't know. Maybe ETH. I will say I think ETH is more likely to have a bit more of that passive leverage baked into the ecosystem than Bitcoin, just because of DeFi in general. But Bitcoin, I have no idea, man. I have no idea. Wherever we do bottom, I have to imagine Bitcoin's going to lead out of the range at the end of the day, because it continues to look the healthiest from a long-term like leverage and derivative standpoint.
Well, Tommy, what do you think about this fractal?
We were talking about that, weren't we? Over the weekend.
No.
I think we were. Maybe it's not that quite that bit of price action, but I remember sending you and Max something on Bitcoin that had something like that.
I mean, it would make sense, like, because I took price off, right? I literally took price off, and the EMAs look pretty similar. And the tap of the 100, if you lose the range, is going to happen. So it's literally just this, right? This downward chop into like a climactic low, and then it just rips. So, I mean, you could draw it however the fuck you want, but it would be somewhere in here. Either way, if we're going to do anything like the 2016 cycle, we absolutely should not touch the 200. Like this should be out of the question.
But that's very much playing into that, price is going to fall off a cliff fast and then rebound, which it could happen theoretically, but I think at the same time we could also round out of this, in which case the 200 comes closer to your price range, and you don't actually get that big spike down, and you just kind of round out of this, right? So could you draw an example of like a round out of here? Because I think fractals, they can show similarities, but they won't necessarily show exact move. So sometimes the move will kind of alter a bit.
Yeah, but look, even at 2016, like you didn't touch the 200 at all ever until it was completely over.
Yeah, no. I'm stating though.
Like
Let's
if you don't lose the range, yeah, you probably round out. Like
yeah.
if
Show.
you
Can you
don't
show?
lose the range, like you do that.
Yes,
But like
exactly.
if you do lose the range, you're probably gonna stab at the 100 and then go.
Yeah, but
If we
you
if we
get what I'm
paint,
saying there, right?
if we
Yeah.
paint like a rounded bottom, I think it'll look really, really ugly in a way that summer 2021 was painted almost. I think the price action on alts is somewhat supportive of this as well, right? Where it's like every time down into the low, it's like, oh, I thought my altcoins bottom. Nope, down another 50%. But so I think maybe I'd expect a bottom to, probably not last as long as the bottom was created on that because they're structurally different, but behaviorally would probably function pretty similar to that.
Well, Tommy, if you're talking about this, like at minimum, you should put in a lower high, and we really haven't.
I've seen some people draw comparisons to this topping structure. I've been thinking about that actually.
Well,
and
that's what
kind
you said over the weekend, right?
Yeah, like if we are gonna do something like that, we really need to. I think we run the low and give a huge buyback to squeeze over the next like 2 weeks, and then you go down in that scenario. But it's like I don't know that I think they're similar in the sense that we ran up this cycle much faster. So I don't know that like if we're gonna drop, we don't need a rounded top. If we're going up, I'm more than open to like a rounded bottom scenario. But I think just given how quickly we ran up, I think it would more likely look. It would be a much quicker snap back if we are going to pull back from this structure. I don't think it needs to be a rounded top longer than this at least. Like that the top in 2021 in the spring was literally 5 months long.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, bro. Like, what? Yeah, if that's the case, we're gonna be up here for a long time before this thing
Yeah.
ever drops. And here's the thing too. I think a lot of people aren't entertaining this. There was a rising wedge there, and if you were to drop those up on the weekly, they don't even entertain the same price action. Like if you were to bring both of those up to a weekly time frame.
Weekly. Damn, it's gonna fuck it up.
It is, but let's entertain the weekly here.
No. Yep, there it is. All right, what do you want to look at?
So if we look at those two weeklies, it's pretty much looks like it's already bottomed.
I mean, yeah, in 2016 cycle, you never lost the 1221 trend at all. You rode it all the way up. Like you had a wick below here, but that was it. Whoa. Just reset.
If we are bottoming here, you max bid whiff, man, and you walk away.
even on the
Tommy's like, buy my bags. Get
No,
me out of this thing.
I don't even own any whiff right now. I
I'm
don't
just
even
playing,
own any
I'm just
whiff
playing,
right now.
Tommy.
But before you got on, Will, we were talking about the derivative structures on these coins, and it like whiffs by far looks the best if we bottom here.
Yeah, I mean, worst case, if you are gonna run this back, you bottom at the blue, the 21 EMA, right? Which would be probably does something like that. 57K. Send it.
I mean, here's the thing, Tucker. The weekly has been the best time frame.
Did we lose you, Will?
He's back.
Oh, what happened? You spooked me? No. the weekly has been the best time frame since bear bottom. If you were to go to the bottom of Bitcoin there, Tucker, on our recent bear bottom, you can actually find the bull div on the RSI only because of the weekly. If you could pull up the RSI real quick.
Yeah.
The weekly has literally been the best. I feel like if anybody can make a case on anything, they should always dial back to the weekly and see if it follows the weekly structure. And if you were to pull that div all the way up, Tucker, pull it all the way up more.
Oh no.
Let's say you are going to drop. You do have some more downside and strength, but that doesn't mean the market has to come down. But that would play into, Tommy, what we were talking about, where even if market doesn't come down, this thing continues to play sideways to allow this RSI to cool down.
I still think you see total altcoin death in that scenario.
No, you do. I'm not even like, I want to keep it strictly to Bitcoin, but yeah, altcoins, if you're in them, yeah, you're going to get wrecked. But I think like this is like your bear case, right? Until that trend structure is broken, you're in a bull run. That trend structure is strong. It's strong to continue to play. Since your bull div, this has continued to be the trend for strength since the bear bottom.
So
That's
far,
actually-
man,
yeah.
people who are all in Bitcoin are just having a laugh the last week.
I know.
They're not feeling it at all. And you talk to people who are like, you can tell they're mostly in Bitcoin because you're like, oh, my shit coins are destroyed. And they're saying, oh, well, Bitcoin looks fine. I don't even know why you guys are so bearish. And it's like, I mean, for most people who are holding altcoins, it's been like complete other side of the coin. I just love this market, man. I love this market because I mean, from a perp standpoint, I always trade Bitcoin. That's like my primary perps coin is actually Bitcoin. And of course, we have the Bitcoin Ordinals that have been doing so well. Will, what do you think about that thesis that Ordinals do well if we see continued chop and consolidation in the Bitcoin market?
I think Ordinals do well based on Bitcoin specifically, but I do kind of see some ripples happening around the BRC thing. Have you bought any BRCs? Either one of you?
ERCs or
No,
BRCs?
BRCs.
Oh yeah, and the tranches, it's a pain in the butt.
It's a pain. The Unisat thing, like, I'm gonna get some some snapback on the Twitter timeline for saying this, but like, at the end of the day, you have to buy in batches, right? Which is a pain in the ass, and you don't have AMMs. Now, if somebody can correct me and they think there's going to be AMMs, that's great. But if you don't have AMMs, like, it's gonna be hard. Like, this is gonna be like NFTs 2.0, but trying to sell shitcoins as NFT 2.0. So I don't know. Like, it could cause a ripple in the ordinal space if it doesn't go well, because everybody right now, their bets on the table. They unzip their pants, they slapped it on the table, and they're like, all right, let's go all in on BRCs, let's go all in on ordinals. But if BRCs don't do well, that could ripple affect your ordinals and your runes and everything else on price action.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if the asset that you're denominating in gets wrecked, there's not really much you can do at the end of the day. But the one thing I will point out is that even when ETH went from like 4K down to 1,700 in the span of a week and a half to 2 weeks back in May of 2021, and even in 2022 when it drew down again, you look at the charts of top NFT collections, and they went down. Of course, they went down during the capitulation. Everything did, but they bounced back the hardest because people would rotate. And you've talked about this, Will. People rotate the assets that they're denominating in or that they're using for gas back into the JPEG. And with the Bored Apes price action, I want to say that it was still very like nascent stages back in spring of 2021. So it was trading, I think, at like a third of an ETH, give or take. Went down to like 0.1 ETH during the crash. And then within a day, it was back to 0.3 ETH. So it will reprice on the floor, like in the denominated asset very quickly, even though you lost the USD value. But then the USD value price will start to go up because the floor has been bottomed. But NFTs much more than me. I was just kind of studying how Bored Apes traded into NFT summer. And obviously they launched like right before the market crashed. And they did take a hit at first, but within like 2 months, they were trading at almost 10 ETH. So
yeah, and I think so. Just so the audience knows, what I was speaking on specifically was B as in boy, R as in Roger, and C. right? Not BTC, BRC. BRC 20s is basically shit coins on Bitcoin at the end of the day. The problem with that I see with them, and it's not a problem necessarily. It might actually pop off, might not. Um, is that rune holders will be getting BRCs allocations based on their runes, but the buyers and sellers I think are gonna have a harder time interacting because there's no instant buy or instant sell. What I mean by that is you can go onto a page and you have a bunch of batches and you buy a bunch, right? In the batch, you can't buy like $5 worth or $10 worth. It's just whatever the batch is and whatever the floor price is, depended on how much the batch cost. And so in that case, there's no AMM. And AMM is an automated market maker. So in the case of crypto, an automated market maker is a liquidity pool, right? And so anybody can buy or sell from that liquidity pool, and price will go up based on that liquidity pool's funds. And so on the BRC side, there's no liquidity pool that people are buying and selling from, at least that I know of. It's basically a site, and you can buy the batch like an NFT, or you could sell the batch like an NFT, but it stays listed until you get a buyer. So they could skip around yours essentially and buy somebody else's, and yours may never sell because it's like an NFT in a sense. So by batch amount. You can have it on the floor, but if you're selling 75,000 as a batch, everybody may skip you for all the 10,000s, even though they cost more in amount, right? But they cost less in batch, if that makes sense. It's hard to explain on live stream, but
You have to. I don't know why you have to buy in batches, but I just know that you're basically just buying in tranches, batches, and it's a pain.
shitcoin.
It's a pain. I would say it's a bigger pain to list than it is to buy. If you haven't ever listed a BRC before to sell, you're probably going to be really confused, which is bullish for now, right? Like on those assets retaining value, but at the same time, I mean, it's like the floors are so, you view it like an NFT where the liquidity is where the floor is basically, and the floors on those things are thin. So I agree with you. Well, I think BRCs will probably, like, if Bitcoin does break down, BRCs are going to shit the bed. They're going to shit the bed so hard. I do think that it is bullish eventually and over a long time frame, because things are so difficult right now. There's like so much room for vertical scaling. I mean, think about how easy it is to shitcoin on any other blockchain. And maybe Bitcoin will never have the capability to be able to do something like what ETH or Sol can do. But if you can improve the user experience just a little bit, I think it'd go a long way.
It's because they don't have smart contracts. That's why. That's the issue. If BRCs could be created on a smart contract, you could then create an AMA or an AMM, an automated market maker, and then which would be a liquidity pool, and then you'll be good. But because they don't have that, the only way that they can make this happen is layer twos. I'll just be real. Like a layer two on Bitcoin with smart contracts, they can make this happen a lot easier, but they're making it more difficult than it has to be, I think, personally, right? Personally. Now, granted, I've been a beneficiary of ordinals. I've been a beneficiary of runes and BRCs. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it hasn't been beneficial or it hasn't been profitable. I'm just telling people there can be some, we'll say, some definite negative feedback in that category because of the way that they're structured.
Well, the only layer 2 on Bitcoin that I'm aware of is Stacks. I know there's going to be some more coming out. There was one I can't remember the name of, and even if I could remember it, I probably wouldn't drop it in here because I think they're still point farming right now. But maybe I drop it to the Discord. But with that, guys, I think it's a good spot to be wrapping up the show. We've been going for about an hour and 40 minutes. So if you haven't hit that like button and you want to on your way out, we would be very appreciative. Of course, I'm going to run down a few things before we sign out. As always, guys, a reminder that we did just drop our brand new product, the BB Academy, that is retailing for about $199 per right now. But we are I mean, we are about to raise the prices very imminently. So I can only say that so much more before you guys wake up and all of a sudden it's 2 or 3 times the current price that you're seeing. So if that is something that interests you, we do have it on discount right now, just because we are brand new releasing it, and you guys can get educational content and feedback from all of the team, right? Me, Tucker, Jackus, Will, Max, we've all got something in there, and we worked really hard on it, right? We spent about 8 or 9 months developing it to make sure we could deliver you guys a high quality course, and everything in between. So yeah, we do have links to that in the description of this YouTube video, I'm sure, but also through our website and through our Twitter. But yeah, moving on to our programming, guys. If you love Market Check, if you love being here every day, the regulars will know at the same time we go live. Of course, it's around 11 a.m. Eastern time is our typical start, Monday through Friday. If you are new and you enjoyed the content, now you know the time that we go live every single weekday. We talk markets, charts, trading. We have a lot of fun on this show. If you were here last week, we were all kind of LARPing literally as like Fed chairman. It was a pretty funny episode. So check that out if you guys enjoy a bit of personality from the team, of course, as well. And don't forget our flagship show, Market Talk, which is a Twitter space hosted by the legendary King Wabi. We always have exceptional guests on, talk markets, meme coin. I mean, of course, we're talking markets, right? It's BB. But we talk meme coins, macro, everything in between. You never know who is going to stop in on those shows. But make sure to tune in for that as well if you're a Market Check enjoyer or that maybe didn't know that we had a Twitter space running during the day. But yeah, we appreciate you guys being here as always. Welcome any first time viewers of the stream, of course, as always. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday, a fantastic rest of your week, and we'll be back tomorrow morning. Thanks again.